Oh, that's just great. Sneeze attack, huh? Everyone, let's hit it. Let's do it. We got a lot of things to discuss. Let's start with bourbon, and then we'll address the elephant in the room. And by elephant, I don't mean this stupid, useless dog that's down here. I don't mean the stupid, useless dog. So I went on a bourbon run to acquire some new bourbon about a week ago, and I got what I think would be considered a healthy dose of new bottles for the collection. Amongst them is this Redemption. This is the rum cask finish, and this was my wild card of the day. I was like, it sounds so interesting and it could be so delicious. I'm gonna try it. And it turns out, yeah, it's fucking disgusting. It's absolutely gross. That is in the do not recommend list for me. I have some other Redemption products that I got that day, and hopefully they will produce a better result, because that was giving me the, like, that stank face was giving me that. Second update, you'll notice I'm sitting in a Home Depot bucket that says, let's do this. One, because let's do this, right? It's a new week. The second reason is because I woke up and my back is completely I think I'm just going to start cussing on this channel, guys, and we'll bleep it, but I'm tired of trying to act like I don't cuss. If you talk to me on a regular basis, you'll know that's how I talk. So my back, no bueno, which is, and that chair that you guys see on set, well, that's actually part of my living room, and it's very heavy, and getting that down the stairs with a thrown out back is not going to happen. So yes, I will be sitting in a Home Depot bucket. I wore the pants that do not have the crotch torn, so we should be in pretty decent shape. So let's go ahead and talk. Should you, this was, you know what? I think this was a question from one of our viewers, I believe. If not, one of these other ones is, but I think this was actually from one of you. So if it was you and you're watching this, chime in. I can't remember who it was. And the question was, should I get an agent to help me manage my rental property, AKA you own an investment property that you're going to use for renting, and should you get an agent or should you manage it yourself? And the answer, virtually as always, is it depends. It depends. It's largely a conversation of resources and what your priorities are. Because you got two options here, everyone, which is you can either self-manage it or you can hire someone to do that for you. So it's a relatively simple conversation, which is, what do you value more, money or time and stress-free, right? Which of these is a bigger priority for you? Because here's how it's going to work. If you manage it yourself, I have no issue with it. Most of the time, it's not really going to require much from you, because there's just going to be someone living in it, and the only time the phone is going to ring if something goes wrong, right? Or you ringing them if they didn't pay their rent. No, you got to be the bad cop. Pretty much all the work is going to be done around the periods of someone is moving out, so I've got to process them out and see if they're getting back their deposits or what needs to be touched up. Do we need to replace the carpet, whatever? And then you got to remarket it, find someone new, get them in, sign the leases and everything, and then it should be quiet again, right? Unless the washer dryer goes out or whatever the case may be. But generally speaking, hey, all the work is done in these sort of bursts around people leaving and then people coming in and screening tenants and all that kind of stuff. So that's one route, right? Now, if you have a full-time job, for example, because I know it might sound weird, like you're a real estate investor, how could you have a full-time job? Plenty of people do. Absolutely plenty of people still have full-time jobs that aren't full-time real estate investors, right? So you could do that. If you have a full-time job, hey, it could be a little bit of a hassle, not to mention you already have other things going on. You might be like, look, I just don't want to deal with people calling me because the fucking shower has a leak or whatever, right? So option two is hire a property management company, property manager. This could be either a big shop that manages a lot of properties, or you may consider going to your real estate agent that you bought the house from and just saying like, hey, would you have any interest in managing this for me? For a lot of agents, full disclosure, I've never done property management, not because I think it's particularly difficult, just because I just haven't. There hasn't been a scenario where it's come up and I've been approached with the request of, will you do this for me? If it was brought to me, it depends. Maybe, maybe not. It just kind of depends on some different factors, like how much the rent is, yada, yada, yada. But this video is not about me. Option number two, hire a property management company. or your agent, an agent. So what you can expect with that is you'll likely pay them roughly 10%, right? So you're going to pay them about 10% of whatever the rent is. So let's just say average, just kind of pick like a ballpark average of what monthly rent might be, $1,500, right? So if you're bringing in $1,500 a month in rent, that agent's going to take $150 of that. So now you got $1,350. There's a couple considerations here. One, is $1,350 good enough for you? If you're like, well, $1,500 on rent works because my mortgage is $1,400, and if I sacrifice $150 of that to the property manager, now I'm actually underwater by $50 a month, right? I think you guys are tracking with me on that. So part of it depends on the numbers, right? Hopefully your margin is not that close. If you've only got $150 a month in upside on the rental, makes me a little, I mean, hell, it's probably not that far off, actually. I mean, it depends on circumstances, right? But that's one consideration. You might have to manage it yourself so you don't go underwater on it. But really, someone who's likely to hire a property manager is the guy, like me. I'd be a prime candidate of someone who's like, look, I don't want to deal with screening tenants. I don't want the midnight call because the power went out or whatever it is. Like, I don't want to do that. I want that burden to rest with someone else, and I'm willing to pay them a fair number of 10%. And by the way, it could be less, could be more. If it's more, probably not by much. And in some areas, or not even so much area, but in some cases, depending on the person that you might hire to do this, they might just charge you a flat rate. They might just be like, hey, look, it's going to be $200 a month, and there you go. So at the end of the day, there's no real straight answer here. I don't really think I have much else for you there. Nah, not really. So there's no real clear answer. It depends. It depends on what are your margins on the property. What are priorities to you? Do you prefer your sleep and stress-free lifestyle, or are you like, I'm willing to get my hands a little bit dirtier for the sake of saving that 10%? It just depends, okay? It just depends. So take it with a grain of salt. Guys, thanks for watching. Yeah, my back's on fire, everyone. But that Redemption Rumcast finish will send a fire down your belly, and not in a good way. If you guys need real estate help, you can contact us, 1911 Syndicate. We deal largely with like military, law enforcement, shooters, hunters, like, you know, like folks like that. But we help anyone. I think we've got, I don't know, like, I don't know. It's a bunch of cities and states where we operate. For the most part, we're pretty good about keeping the website updated with areas where we operate, where we operate. But if we're not listed there, best course of action, just send us a message, and a lot of times we can still help you out. Okay, so check that out. Yeah, beyond that, I don't know. I ain't got nothing else to tell you. So I don't give a shit. Go on with your day. It's nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. Deuces.